Now let's talk about the compare varieties function specifically. Again, we're starting on the dashboard, making sure that we have our specific crop selected on the left-hand side. Now we can click on compare varieties. Here, if you've had a comparison as you've done before, it'll pre-populate with that comparison, but you can always hit clear all varieties to clear that selection. If we're looking at, let's say you have a specific set of hybrids, let's say 4 or 5 or even more, that you want to look at, but you don't want to go and search through the database and everything else. You can actually just do a straight compare within our database and look at them specifically. This is very similar to a find variety, a query variety function that we talked about in that very first video. Here instead, you're just looking for a number of specific hybrids. You want to see what the data looks like. So just like we did on find variety, we can type in any variety name in here and add it to our compare tool. So for instance, let's say I want to look at DCAB again. So DKC, I'd say I like this 5982. It's kind of brand new, but I want to compare it to some Dynagrow. So let's look for let's look at a D39 because that's an earlier hybrid. And I like the Augusta hybrids. They've done really, really well for early. So let's look at 1059. You can see as we add these in, it adds them onto this right-hand side. And it looks very similar to what you saw when we did that query function. We looked at set of criteria and we pulled them in. So now I can look and see, just like we did with the query function, where these were tested, the number of variety records we have, the years they were tested, the company, the availability, and the traits that were tested. And then the relative maturity, yield, percent of trial mean consistency, or sorry, trial mean yield, consistency, which again is a percentage of times it was in the top yield group, test weight, ear height, stalk height, and then lodging scores if we have them. And just like we saw previously when we did the query by hybrid, you can click on any one of these values and it pulls down and shows you the specific value by year and by location and by test for all these different hybrids that you're looking at. So that's the compare by variety function within our variety selection tool.